This is Two Chicks Talkin Flicks, where we review movies. Love them or hate them, someone's got to do it. So enjoy the show. Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm April.
And this is Justin Long's podcast.
Woohoo!
Or Two Chicks Talkin Flicks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We are fans of Justin Long. If you've been here long enough, you know that we are huge fans.
Yeah.
And
he has such a range, you know, and so many different types of films.
Like,
so
how he hasn't been on our podcast yet. I mean, you know.
I wonder why.
Maybe we should send him clips about our adoration for him. But if you've read what this episode is about, or you can listen to us tell you right now, but we are going over Accepted.
The movie.
Is there a different kind?
Just in case. Just in case.
It is back to school season, so we thought we would kick off the season with a back to school movie.
Yes.
And what better one than Accepted?
I'm sure many will say there's better options.
Well, they're not on our podcast, so we don't care.
No.
And hello, Justin Long.
Yes.
I mean, and okay, so I guess a very brief synopsis. Basically, him and a group of his friends didn't get accepted into school, so he makes up a school just to get his parents off his back, and then it backfires because just one click away and you can be accepted on a website. It sends all these people acceptance letters to South Harmon Institute of Technology, aka SHIT. And now they all think they got accepted to this school. Mm-hmm. And so now they're running a school.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the actual Harmon Institute or Harmon University wants to buy their land. And so they're trying to get them kicked out. And then they have to go get accredited. And then they do. And that's the movie.
Yeah, it's a really good film.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I have to say is that I feel like in a lot of movies, he's like the cute guy or like the
dorky guy.
Yeah, the dorky guy. But there's two movies that he is like the alpha, I guess. If you want to call him the alpha. It's this movie and it's he's just not that into you. And I love him in both of those movies. But this one, he has like swagger of like a Ferris Bueller meets Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks. Like he just comes up with all these schemes, but he's like
not really schemes. He just goes with the flow.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy. Like he does so much work to do little work.
Yeah.
And, you know, really, I think he could be like a great CEO because he's very creative.
Yeah. Like just think about all of the work they had to put into getting that, especially now that at the end, once they get accredited.
Yeah.
They like, that's all administrative stuff, you know, insurance, like there's a lot that they have to put into that school.
Yeah. And as someone who went to art school, of course, I would gravitate towards a college like that because it could allow me to be creative. You know, even with my art degree, they made me take classes that I shouldn't have had to take.
For a well-rounded education.
Yeah. So a little background about me and my college. So I got my degree in photography, but with that, you know, people are like, oh, you just went to school and you just had to like take photos. No, I had to do design. I had to do painting, art, or painting, drawing, all this other stuff. So I did pottery and if you can't draw, they don't care. Like you have to actually really, really try. Like it's not like just a pass fail sort of situation. I'm not the best drawer. And I always thought I was okay.
Yeah.
But when I went to school, there are people that are actually majoring in painting and drawing. So they're very, very good. And then you have someone like me that's like, I'm better than a stick figure drawer, but I'm not as great as a painting and drawing major. And they expected me to be as great as a painting and drawing major. I'm like, okay, I'm good at photography. I'm not good at drawing. They don't care about that. And like, you get your ass handed to you and it sucks. And you have everything you do is critiqued. So you have to put up all of your work and the class just talks about everything. So that's what sucked. So I would actually like South Harmon because you didn't have to have a why. You just get to be you and be free. And though I think if I was at a school like that and I didn't have structure and they didn't make me go to these certain classes and do the certain things, I would just do nothing.
Maybe the second semester you would be more focused.
Maybe.
Like, I think the best way that this school is going to go forward is you want to do photography, that's fine, but you're going to have to study all of the famous photographers. You're going to have to like write as like, you know what I mean? Like if this is what you're passionate about, you're going to become an expert basically in this field as best as you can.
You would think I would.
Well, you didn't get a chance to do that, but at Harmon, that if I was the dean and this was the type of school I was running, like you want to do photography, that's perfectly fine. I want to know the history of photography, different types of camera, obviously the black room where you develop your own film, like I would, no, but like seriously, like these are different, like how far can you zoom into a picture before you don't know what it is anymore? Just dumb shit. But, yeah. That's what I would have you do in my photography program.
That would be fun. Like I'm not a huge fan of other photographers.
True, but again, like I'm not a professional dean.
It's really funny actually that we're talking about this. In my photography classes, I that's mostly what I was supposed to be studying. We'd studied very little photographers, but I had to take art appreciation and we studied a hell of a lot of artists. But in my actual field, very little history of photographers, which is interesting.
Maybe you should go back and get a master's or bachelor's and add those classes to the curriculum.
Oh, hell no. If I go back to school, it's not going to be for photography. It's going to be for something else, something that I can like use my degree in. I can use photography. I can do that, but I don't have to have a degree to do that. Now everybody with an iPhone can do it. That's what people say. But you really have to have an eye in order to do it. But what would you, if you given the opportunity to do this, if this was your school and you chose to go there, what would you want to learn? Because you'd have to teach yourself. So it's not something you could just be like, well, I want to learn engineering.
I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think back to my younger years. Like, obviously, I loved history so much, but it's not necessarily that I've moved on, but I've read so in depth to my actual interests. Obviously, there's still so much more to learn.
Yeah.
But I have a good grasp of what I've accomplished. You know what I mean?
You study like drafting? Because I know you were really into that for a while.
Yeah, I actually really did love drafting. I've seen videos on YouTube where people build the little models of houses, and that looks fun and interesting. But I would need space, which obviously at the shit school, I would have the space to do that. So that would be fun.
That would be fun. I'd actually enjoy that. I thought about architecture for a while.
Like that's one thing that I love in Sims. I play Sims, but it's more for like building and designing my houses.
Yeah.
And like I spend all my time building my people, making their clothes, then building their houses, remodeling their houses. And then I just play with them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then like the next time I have so many families. I just start a new one. Like the next time or maybe I'm not even finished with that one when I think of somebody else. So I just like hit play so I could save it and then I like start a new one. So like I'm not very good at playing the game, but I'm very good at like designing my people and their little houses.
You know, it's really funny that you mentioned interior design. The other day I walked into work and this lady goes, "Oh, hey, are you the one who does interior design?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "I make stuff." And she's like, "Oh, good." And she was like, "Can you do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I probably." She goes, "Well, how much?" I don't know. I've never made this before. I don't know what the cost of materials is. I don't know any of that. And I was like, I'd have to do some research and get back to you. And I need to know like kind of what you're looking for. And she's like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, just let me know how much." And I'm like, again, I still need to know what you're wanting to know how much it's going to be. So with all the people at my work, man, I'm getting a lot of orders for stuff.
Yeah.
Just this week, I made 2 shirts and a floral arrangement. And now I've been requested to make this big, like 6-foot wide sign. I don't make 6-foot wide signs, but apparently I'm gonna. I don't know.
Go for it.
I think she's gonna have a rude awakening when she finds out how expensive they are. Because all the ones I saw on Etsy were like $100+.
You could just make it at Walgreens.
So
Is it a banner?
No, she wants like a sign with like their name or something on it. So, all right. So this movie stars our favorite Justin Long.
Yes.
And we open up where he is making fake IDs.
Yeah.
I completely forgot that this part existed. I was like, are they in high school?
Yeah. And they mentioned prom, but we don't see it.
No, and graduation.
That's okay. We don't need it.
Nah, that's not what this is about.
It's the end of the school year. We get it.
Right. But I completely like forgot that even existed. Because it's so fleeting. It happens so quickly. But I love how Rory, she didn't get into Yale. And I find that hilarious.
Because it was her only school.
Well, there's that. But because Rory on Gilmore Girls does go to Yale because she didn't get into Harvard. Ooh. So I thought that was just really funny that she's like, I didn't get into Yale.
So out of the Ivy Leagues, which one would you want to go to?
I think because of prestige, it would have to be Harvard, right?
Really? I would want to go to Georgetown just because I want to be in DC.
Though I kind of like Cornell.
Really? Cornell?
Yeah.
You know, the one school I would not want to go to is Brown.
Yeah, it's in Rhode Island. Who cares about that, right?
I wouldn't want to go there.
I'd go to RISD. It's down the street.
I would go to Duke before Cornell.
Duke is not a...
It's not a school? Thought it was.
It is a school. It's not an Ivy League.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
So what's there? Stanford? Ugh, California, though.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't want to go west.
You know it'd be better than all of those?
Huh.
MIT, but I'm not smart enough to go to
Yeah, and you get to be in the Harvard town.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what school I'd want to go to. I think just because of The Office, Cornell seems fun.
Well, I call Georgetown.
Okay, I'll give you Georgetown.
Thank you.
And I'll raise you a Harvard.
Okay.
I want to go to Harvard Law School.
Harvard.
I go to Harvard. Yale. I just want a reason to tell people I went to Harvard. I mean, because, okay, if you go to Harvard, you have to tell people you went to Harvard. It's like when you're a vegan, you got to just tell people that you're a
Can't
vegan.
I just tell people like, oh, I came to UTA because Harvard rejected me?
I mean, it's not far-fetched.
I mean,
if you're at
oh my gosh, I should just apply to get rejected.
There you go. And then you just
Then it's official.
put that on your social media. We're like, look, bitches, I was rejected from Harvard.
And then people be like, wow, she got rejected from Harvard.
Wait, what if you got accepted?
I don't think that would happen.
How crazy would that be? You're a great story. You know, you're how many years old? You're applying to Harvard.
You know what? I'll do it. I'll just apply. What's that, like $50 down the drain?
Yeah, see what happens.
I'll do it.
Do it.
I will do it.
Let's do this.
I'm gonna write them my sad story and be like, and I need a full scholarship.
Yeah. I mean, is there any other way?
Oh my gosh. I think that would be just as good. Like, I flunked out of Harvard and they'll be like, wow.
Is this a story, like a movie?
Right? Like, I think I could still get a damn good job by being so many people drop out of Harvard.
Yeah.
Be like, I dropped out of Harvard. Be like, oh, that's CEO in the making.
Yeah. Like, hey, the fact that you get into Harvard.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, so not flunk out, I drop out right before I flunk out.
Okay, no, this is what you need to do. You apply to Harvard, you get accepted, and then you write them a letter saying, no, pass. Thank you, next. You know? And then
Signed Ariana.
Yeah, and then for the rest of your life, be like, well, I got accepted into Harvard.
They wanted me, but they also wanted $100,000.
I had to go to UTA, so, you know. Semantics.
Right.
Yeah. That's I would put that on every application I ever send into a business.
I will add it as an attachment.
Be like, I was accepted to Harvard.
Yeah.
I didn't go, but I was accepted. Why not? I think that's the way to go.
Exactly. And we're only doing Harvard, right? Because I mean, if there's one school to go to, it's Harvard.
Exactly.
Because Georgetown just doesn't have the same ring.
No.
But Harvard does.
Harvard. And people have heard of it.
Yeah.
Not that people haven't heard of Georgetown, but
Yeah.
you know. Let's
All right.
see here.
My goal this year is to get rejected by Harvard or accepted.
Or accepted. Let's
To
root for
receive
accepted.
correspondence from Harvard.
There you go.
Is the goal.
I don't know why I put that.
Me either.
So I love that they call it the South Harmon Institute of Technology.
Yes.
Shit. That's perfect. Like, I want to meet who came up with this movie because it's such a great idea.
You know, it made me want to watch Old School again. I love Old School so much.
If you didn't know, we did that episode many moons ago. You
Yes,
can
we
find it
did.
in our playlist with our friend Paul from Life of Pi.
Yes.
Yeah,
Blue. You're my boy, Blue.
Yeah, so I love how his dad's like, I can't wait to drop you off.
And then he's
oh,
like,
no.
At least he found out at the beginning of summer.
True.
And he got that check in the beginning of
Yes.
summer. And they had all summer to get that little mental institution up to par.
Yeah, and what's weird is that when you first see it, it looks like it's a tiny little building. But then at the very end of the movie, you see it has lots of other areas.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, that's where all the other students were living because they didn't have a lot of space.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, all right. There is more to this building than this little tiny room.
What I found very hard to believe, and you pointed out, is that it seems that they live in the same town as this school.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't they at least be 2-3 hours away, maybe, you know?
Yeah, because his sister came
Yeah.
to the school like
She took the city bus there.
yeah. I was just like, okay, so they live in town. Why are they staying at the dorms then?
Well, sometimes you have to stay there the first year.
Yeah, but usually if you live in town, you don't. You know? Like, I lived 45 minutes away, so I had to stay in the dorms at UNT. UNT. But the people that live there, they didn't have to. So I don't know. It's very strange. Jonah Hill has so many good one-liners in this movie.
He does.
So many. Like, I don't know if I'd seen a lot of movies with Jonah Hill at this time.
I think for me, it was like probably this and Superbad. So
I know he was in 40-Year-Old Virgin was like the first one I saw him in. And he was really funny trying to buy the skates. And I want to say that this one was next. But like, he is so funny in this movie. For someone who doesn't even go to that school,
he's so invested.
And he's just like, we're going to go to jail. Like, why? I mean, honestly, besides the fact that they stole their parents' money, each kid, they're not doing anything illegal. If I want to, I can go to a park right now and pretend it's my school and have people come and listen to me talk.
It's just like a cult. There's nothing illegal about starting a cult.
Yeah. I mean,
it's what you do after.
Exactly. So technically, nothing that they were doing was illegal. Now, if you're trying to get a degree, that's different.
Here's the thing. Did their website say anywhere at all that it was accredited?
Probably not. Well, it might have.
I mean, just think about it. I've been to a few university websites.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for that. I can't tell you if I've even seen that before. You assume they're accredited, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's the money that was taken is between the student and their parent. Like,
yeah.
You know, honestly, they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't ask any of these people to come. They didn't try to hoodwink anybody.
Here's the thing. Who was the check made out to? And did they open up, like, did they make it into a corporation?
Well, they opened up a bank because I know Jonah said that.
What was the name of the bank? How did they, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, they would have to set up either a C corporation, an LLC, like a learning institution so that they don't pay taxes. Like, that's stuff that Sherman would have been worried about and setting up.
Now, one thing that could have gotten in their way is Harmon University.
The name.
That's really the only thing that could have been detrimental.
I wish they had not named it South Harmon. You know?
Well, it's because it's across the street from Harmon.
True.
Now, is it to the south? That's the question.
I would think so.
I think if it wasn't, they would have brought that up at some point.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they'd had. Like, this isn't even south.
Yeah.
Like, just like an aside joke. I feel like Jonah Hill's character would have said that.
I just feel like a sister school wouldn't be that close.
No.
You know? But then again, you have like Dallas, University of Texas, and you have Arlington University of Texas. Yeah. So.
Well, and UNT and TWU are like down the street from each other.
Yeah, but the women's university was started off completely different.
True.
You know, so.
True. But guys can go there now.
Now, yeah.
Let's see here. One of my favorite parts is when they're doing the shock therapy. And then the kid,
Glen,
didn't even feel any. You're just like, what is wrong with this kid?
Yeah.
And I totally want to try one of his wads.
It did look good. I'm surprised. Like, it looked kind of like a little cupcake muffin.
It looked like a brownie to me.
It looked like a Hostess cupcake, you know?
Yeah.
because you were able to hold it without getting chocolate on you.
Yeah. It looked delicious. Every time I see this movie, it looks good.
A Glen Wad.
Yeah, and I just really want to try it.
It's exploding with flavor.
I love Lewis Black.
Yeah.
I think he's a great addition to the movie. I love how his class gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
You know what he reminded me of?
What?
That movie you showed me about the camping and the kids.
Yes. Camp Nowhere.
Yes, that's who he reminded me of.
This basically is a college age
Version.
Camp Nowhere. I mean, it's almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I wonder if the person who wrote this movie, if they saw that movie when they were younger and was like, I need to write about college and do this.
I like it.
Yeah. And I think he's hilarious.
Yes.
I actually was going to play you a clip from one of my favorite jokes, and then I re-listened to it and I was like, this isn't that funny. But it did talk about college. He was at an IHOP and he was sitting there, and the girl behind him said to somebody, I wouldn't have made it through my first year of college without my horse. And for some reason I thought the joke was funnier, but it wasn't as funny as I thought it was. But then he was like, you think about that and you're like, what, did she ride the horse to school and that's how she made it through? Or was the horse a part of her, like, was she a polo rider? Like, why did the horse have to do with anything with college? So, let's see here. Oh, I love his line about buyers and sellers, pimps and whores, pimps and whores. And Dad's like,
He's like trying to follow it,
Yeah.
And then he's like, he finally just brings it back around. He's like, let's face it, you all want an education so that you can get a good starting salary for when you get a job. And they're like, yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for being so honest.
Yeah. They're like, of course, that's exactly what we want.
Yeah.
And all I could think is Bartleby should be a CEO of some startup. Like that's all I can think. And then of course,
like he's good. Like, here's the thing. You see him as he grows into this role, what great things he could accomplish. But honestly, starting your own school is pretty damn cool.
right?
Like, I remember my friends and I were going to start our own school. We were going to call it Ace Academy. Yeah. ACE. And then we added Sandra. So we were becoming the Aces. ACES.
And was this before or after this movie?
Before. Way before.
And what was the school going to be about?
It was just going to be a school. Like a high school.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we were also going to have another school, like a rival school. It's going to be called Queen College. It wasn't actually a college, but it was going to be like a girls' school only.
Yeah.
What?
I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to go there to Queen's College.
Okay, don't go.
I lived in a all girls dorm in college. Not a fan. Not a fan. I did it to myself, really.
Why?
The one I wanted to get into is a super popular dorm, and they didn't have any space left. And so I was like, well, this one's closest to my classes. So I took that one, and it was an all-girls dorm.
So you were close to all your classes.
Oh, no, I wasn't.
Oh, that sucks.
No. I was literally one of the furthest dorms away from all of my classes. Yeah. So I thought, okay, I'm right by campus. That will be the best place. Nay, all of my classes were on the exact opposite side of campus. Like the furthest you could possibly get and still be on campus.
Was there, like, your second option, was that closer, or did you just...
Yeah, it was a hell of a lot closer. It was literally like maybe a block away from where my classes were. Yeah. So that sucked.
I won't make that mistake when I go to Harvard.
Yeah. Yes, please learn from my mistakes.
I will.
What will you study at Harvard?
I'll do like, what's his name? That comedian you love, get an English degree.
Oh, there you go.
What's his name again?
Now I'm trying to wonder which one you're talking
From
about.
SNL. He's like a Catholic. He's always talking about that.
John Mulaney?
Yes. How he went to NYC and got an English major.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. It was a skit where he was talking about how he got a letter from the school asking for a donation. And he was like, you already got my money for an English degree that I'm not even using.
He's using it. I mean, he's write stuffs all the time.
True, but I can write stuff now.
That is true.
I don't know.
I could take pictures with my phone. I didn't need a degree.
I think I'll get the easiest one just to say I have a Harvard degree.
Well, I did tell you on Friday or last Friday.
I forgot a lot of stuff from last Friday.
I was sitting with like 7 people, and all 7 people, none of them either A, went to college, or B, finished college. And I was the only one. And I was like, what? I go, when I'm the only person that's finished college, there is an issue here. And I go, and I got an art degree. Because they were like, oh, really? And I was like, oh, don't get it twisted. It's an art degree. So it ain't fancy. And I was just like, that's so bizarre. But hey, you know, to each its own.
Yep.
And hey, I did what I set out to do, and that was to get the degree. It doesn't matter what you get a degree in, as long as you got one.
I can buy a degree.
There you go. That's the spirit.
What is it? What was that place? The American Samoas.
There you go. Let's see here.
Blake Lively's in this film.
Yeah, she is.
That's all.
I don't care about Blake Lively.
Just because you hate everybody.
Actually, someone talked about that today at work. They were like, yeah, you don't like Nicole Kidman. I was like, no, I don't. And they're like, or Gwyneth Paltrow. I said, no. I've come around on Gwyneth Paltrow. I was like, but I don't like...
Angelina Jolie.
Well, yeah, no, I don't like her. But Scarlett Johansson was my next one. I completely forgot about Blake Lively. She's not even in my orbit, so I just don't think about her. But I love Ryan Reynolds, so unfortunately they're a package pair, which sucks. I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe she's nice. I don't know.
I don't know either one of them personally.
I don't get it, but whatever. I think she's overrated. I think that's my problem with her. People made such a big damn deal about her, and I just feel she's overrated.
See, maybe you're too much in the sphere.
Maybe.
Because I'm not. So she's never been built up for me.
Well, so I liked the movie The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Never
She's
seen
in that
it.
movie.
Not appealing.
And I liked all the other 3 characters, but I just didn't care for hers. And people were like, oh my God, it's Blake Lively. She's so pretty. She's so pretty. I don't care. So I think that's my problem. I like Amber Tamblyn.
Don't know who
I
that
like
is.
America Ferrera.
I know who that is.
I like Rory. I can't think of her. Alexis Bledel.
I like her.
But I just was not a fan of her. But yes, she is in this movie. She ironically wants to study photography, and she ends up doing that. So good for her.
Yes.
I love that they have a board of different options that you can choose, and you can just sign up for one.
Yep.
I like that Rory decided that she doesn't want to do anything. She's like, I just want to do nothing. She could become a
guru.
Yeah. I bet, you know what? She looks like a cult leader. And that, I wrote his name down. Abernathy Darwin Dunlap.
I love him. He plays the Penguin in Gotham.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I know him from somewhere. That makes sense.
He definitely looks better with dark hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because his hair blends in with his skin.
And
Too
he's
pale.
definitely spastic. But I could see him recruiting people to her cult.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love how he tries the meditation. He's like, okay, that was fun.
Yeah, he like sits down for a second. He's like, oh, wow, that was great.
And then he like gets up and leaves.
But then you see him in later scenes and he's wearing a straight jacket and doing it. So
that's the only way he could do it.
Yeah, he really calmed down. I love his friend. Is it Bishop?
The kid who blows up shit?
No, the artsy fartsy one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All of his statues.
It just spoke to me. Be careful with the tip. Yeah, it's a African goddess of fertility.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, okay. And see, in that, I would probably have him study African mythology.
Yeah.
You know, study maybe like archaeology and stuff like that. So like, you would explore those things. Like if this is what you're interested in, tell me more about it.
Okay, see, instead of being a student at this school, I could see you being an administrative,
like a guide.
Yeah, or HR or an admin, something like that. And you would be like, oh, you want to study this? Well, then these are the classes you should take. I could see that for you.
Yeah.
Because you're just rattling them off.
Yeah.
So quickly.
Like the guys who were talking about the skateboarding and engineering. I was like,
and that's true.
That's more like aerodynamics.
Because you're physics.
Yeah. That, and you can learn a lot about like gravity and like wingspan and air and stuff like that. So that would be interesting. But you don't really constantly build half pipes.
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to go into building like playgrounds type situation, I can see like
kids could take shits.
So
well, now if they wanted to study geometry, that could be how they get their spin ratio and their
also,
turns. And
I can see them attending class with the art guy.
Yeah.
Different types of woods, materials, the aerodynamics, the weight, the size of the wheels, that could all be like really interesting. Yeah. I'm sure those wheels have to meet certain metrics. Like, you have to be able to ride these so many miles before you wear it down so much. Like those are tests that people do on wheels. So you would have to look at like safety, how much of a tilt those skateboards should or shouldn't have. I bet you can probably tighten them to make it less, like, especially for somebody who's starting off who you don't want it to tilt so much. Yeah. I bet there's something in the bottom that you can tighten it so it's not so wobbly.
True.
That would be interesting.
Oh, what about the rock guy? What would you have him study? Just music in general?
So for the rock history, definitely different rockers, how it changed over time.
Brian Wilson, just a class on Brian Wilson.
Yeah, we could do that. But also like the instrument, like how the instruments have changed, like from a line, a sitar, to a guitar, to an electric guitar, to now you have, how you can play a guitar just like on a piano type situation.
He would have to get with the art guy who gets with the skateboarders, and his final project is to build his own instrument.
Ooh, that would be fun. Full circle. Yeah. Also with rock and roll history, you would have to learn, especially so you don't get swindled. Yeah. Management, touring, the whole, like that whole thing, learning from the bottom to the top, like being a roadie, like what does that entail? That way you're not making demands on somebody that they're not capable of doing.
Yeah.
If you at least know what those jobs consist of. You may have to know more about PR, marketing, what you should and shouldn't say. Your images, like you should probably know what is your best side. What are the colors that favor you the most? What's your best lighting? Especially if you're starting off and you have to do all this stuff yourself.
Yeah.
Because let's say he doesn't become a rock and roll artist. He may become a manager for somebody else. So there's still a lot there to learn about the industry, not just being the artist, but everything behind the artist as well.
Sure. So what about Hoyt Ambrose and his pack of goons?
Who are they?
The fraternity guys at Harmon.
Oh,
they're gross. They're just stereotypical.
I don't really know middle
D-bags.
management.
Right?
Middle management that micromanage and that are salarymen, basically.
Yeah. They're just gross. And like, okay, so maybe because I went to 2 years at a junior college before I went to college. So my classes were a little bit different. But when Bartleby goes to Harmon and he goes into the different classes, like ours wasn't like those lecture halls. We had one room that was a huge auditorium, basically, that like 300 kids can sit in. But other than that, all my other classes were a lot most of them were a lot smaller. And the structure was not like any of those classes.
It depends, because at UTA, I did have auditorium classes, but they were the science ones.
Yeah, one of my classes was a science one.
Like my science class, my physics class, they were in a giant auditorium with lots of students and like an overhead projector. Yeah, but my biology class was a big classroom.
Yeah.
So
like I had astronomy and it was like that. It was a big classroom like that.
Yeah, but at like at the Tarrant County College, it was just classrooms.
Yeah.
So
that's how mine was too, because I went to TCC as well. But yeah, like if a fraternity was like that, I wouldn't want to be in that fraternity.
I wouldn't either.
Hey, winner. Ugh.
Like that's just not my vibe.
No.
But and here's the thing. I want to say that those things don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But at UTA, they don't allow fraternity, that type of hazing and situations. Yeah. But you still hear people like getting injured and like dying from these like, rush weeks. So it does still happen.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for the kids that don't know how to say no.
Yeah.
Like, even if I wanted to join one, there's only so far I would go, before I'd be like, you know what? Not worth it. Not interested.
Exactly.
So I just feel bad for them. And he didn't even have it that bad. Like in old school, they had a worse.
Way worse. Yeah.
Way worse.
Yeah. Like it didn't even seem like he was having fun.
No, for him, it was a legacy. Like he was a fourth generation. He wanted to, live up to his dad's dream. Like like you hear about the college experience, right? So you have certain expectations, maybe.
Yeah.
So
like my dad didn't go to college. He did later on, but in his formative years, he was in the military. My mom went to a 4-year school, but she's not a partier. So she didn't have that college thing that people do. So for me, I'm not much of a partier. And when I went to UNT, I was already 21. So I was kind of past my, like, let's go get drunk and have fun, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like that just wasn't my thing. So I didn't have that typical college experience, but none of them like they were having fun at all. They were having a hell of a lot more fun at Shithead.
I think they were all a bunch of posers trying to pretend like they were playing adults, you know? But I had my party days.
Right?
Yes.
I said that, especially during the Ramones part, I said fluffy hair up when his hair was like pushed up. He's a stud, that Justin Long.
Yeah?
He was looking really good. I was enjoying it. I was like, hey, look at him looking all saucy.
Yeah, I did like that look.
And then
I loved that whole like rock and roll bit.
yes.
And then when the goons show up and they like hit the emergency fire extinguisher thingy and all the water starts falling and they're like, wet t-shirt. I thought I was gonna say contest.
Yeah.
Wet t-shirt party. And I was like, okay, that'll work. Because that's the first thing you think of.
Exactly. And I don't know what he thought he was going to accomplish because
It's the wrong crowd.
yeah, maybe his crowd might be like, oh my God, my jewels. I don't know. And run and scatter. But these people, they were not going to do that.
No.
They're like, hell yeah, I was hot anyways. Let's go.
Yep.
I loved it.
I just feel bad for the equipment that probably got damaged.
Right. They don't care. It's not their money. It's their parents' money. They'll just buy more.
Yeah.
I really feel like the only person they really spent a lot of money on was Glenn.
For his kitchen.
Yeah.
But that fed everybody.
True.
Yeah. Like, I think he had the most character development.
Yeah.
Him and the art guy.
Yes.
Definitely. I like how Glenn took charge of the kitchen and started saying, oh, we're going to need these treats done by the time Rory's retreat finishes or something. So I really like his character development.
I thought it was great. He started as like a buffoon and then he was like really found his home in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It was great. I wish I was that passionate about something.
Here's your thing. You have too many passions.
Exactly. I wish I had passion about one thing. Like I get too excited about all sorts of different things.
You like to try new things.
I do.
And then you get good at it.
I do.
And then something new catches your eye. Like, I think you're looking for a challenge.
Maybe. I just like too many things.
Yeah.
Well, actually what happened was.
I know. What happened?
Is that I think of something, I buy all the stuff for it, I make something, and then if nobody likes it, I move on to the next thing. But then I still buy stuff for that other thing, just in case maybe someone might buy stuff. And then people did, and then I had to buy more stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
You should probably start now with your wreath making.
Oh, I have been. I have. I have been. Let's see here. Why did they name him Bartleby? That's such a
It must
interesting
be
name.
grandfather name or something.
Maybe.
Like, why would you do that to your kid?
Yeah, they were like, he got in trouble, when Harmon comes and blah blah blah. And they said something about, you really disappointed us. And I was like, you disappointed us with that name. Like it was
not a good choice. You could have named him just about anything to call him B.
Yeah.
Bernard.
Barney.
Well, I was still thinking of an old-timey name.
Yeah. Bradford. Why Bartleby?
Barney.
I had a friend named Barney.
Poor him.
Let's see here. Oh, so when they're on their way to the court to talk to them about being accredited, he says, I don't want to go to jail. And he goes, don't worry. Your butt can take it.
I know. I love Dean Lewis. You're young.
You're young. Your butt can take it. So I was going to make this point earlier and then we got kind of sidetracked. So why does Harmon, why can't they exist? Like, okay, I understand you want that land. What if you offer to pay them to move to a different place? They could still exist and you could have your land. Why does it matter?
I think because they sent the dickhead over there to negotiate.
True.
So,
because I just saw this story the other day and it kind of reminded me of this when we were watching the movie. So Cracker Barrel is going to start selling vegan sausage.
okay.
Not replacing their current sausage. They're just going to add vegan options to the menu.
That's what I assumed you meant.
Yeah. And people are wanting to boycott
Why?
Cracker Barrel.
You still order your regular meal.
Right? I was like, and the guy in the video was like, literally, they're not taking away anything. It's not like they're getting rid of sausage. They're adding more options to the menu, and people are still upset about this. And I was just
It's like, it doesn't even affect you.
exactly. So this school doesn't affect you. It has nothing to do with you. It shares the same name and it shares the same space. They could move if you really wanted to fight it, and they could change their name. But does the school really affect you? No. Like, you're still going to have your numbers. People are still going to want to go to your school. Parents are still going to make their kids go to your school and not that school. So why does it matter? And I'm sorry, some people have to have vegan sausage because their dietary restrictions won't allow them to have real sausage.
I kind of want to try the vegan sausage now.
Yeah, I mean,
When do they start the new menu?
I don't know. I'm assuming it probably already started.
We should go. We should eat Cracker Barrel next time.
Try it.
Yes.
But yeah, I was just like, that's such a good point. It just, if you're still there, if your thing is still there, why does it matter if somebody else is there with it, with something else? Like, I love Coca-Cola. I don't care if you want to drink a Pepsi. It doesn't bother me. Go ahead and drink your Pepsi. I'm going to drink my Coke. I'm going to enjoy it. And you enjoy your Pepsi.
Yep.
Why does it matter?
I completely agree.
I just don't get it.
I think they needed a plot for the film, that, and they probably didn't want to pay anything.
Could be.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you had about this movie?
Not really. I really love, I feel like it's a great time to do a remake. Not a remake, a follow-up. You know, like, where are they now? Are there institution, like, rivalry institutions, like two big schools next to each other? Like, it's really grown, and, it's, I would hate to call it the party school, but that's obviously how they're going to be seen, but I would love to see that.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Even if they did just like a short, like
South Harmon started to extend more south, and they're a big school now.
That would be great.
It would be.
I mean, it's almost been 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, Justin Long's doing that other thing, right? What's he doing?
Lots of stuff.
Okay, well, he needs to do this. Get on it. Get on it.
We should message him. I did have one other thing. So his sister wanted a fake ID so she could vote.
Oh my God.
And all I can think is that's like Brian from the Breakfast Club. Because he also has a fake ID so he can vote. I'm like, how many? You can only vote once, probably.
Not only that, but like, it depends the state that you're in.
Yeah.
But here in Texas, you still have to register.
Yeah.
And they have to run your information to make sure that you would be valid to vote.
Yeah.
So a fake ID wouldn't help you. Now, there are some states that you can register that same day and get away with it. So maybe that's the states that they're in.
Maybe.
Anyways, you can't do it in Texas.
Very strange. So All right. Well, April,
Yes.
what would you rate this movie?
I'm going to rate this a 9 out of 10. Justin Long being clumsy was the only downfall in this movie.
Yeah, he's
I
so
hated
smooth and
it.
suave and alpha, and then he just like has fumble fingers.
Like, it's the only fault in this film.
Yeah, because it's so oddly clumsy.
Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about clumsiness a couple episodes ago with the Hannah Montana, Lizzie McGuire.
It's like a cheap shot.
Yeah, it's a cheap trope. And I for one am sick of it.
Yes.
And ironically, I just talked about this yesterday. I'll tell you that story off the air. But,
Okay.
I will give it a 9 out of 10 Glen Wads. And I really want to try one. Okay. I would just like to know what's in a Glen Wad so I can make my own.
You know what it reminds me of? It kind of looks like a volcano.
Oh,
like the chocolate covered volcano because it had the little chocolate in the inside.
Yeah, it just looks really good.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a chocolate fan.
Like a mini bundt cake with chocolate in the middle.
Yeah, but all that seems really dry. It looks like
that one was moist.
like a gooey brownie to me.
Fresh out of the oven.
Yeah, it looked like a hot, warm, delicious brownie. And I, for one, need to try one.
Okay. I'm sure if you look it up, you'll find a recipe.
You know, I kind of thought about that. Maybe I should try. All right, April, well, where can they find us?
Two Chicks Talkin Flicks over on Instagram.
You can find us at Two Chicks Talkin Flicks at Gmail.
Two Chicks Talkin Flicks over on Facebook.
And Two Chicks Talkin Flicks on TikTok.
Yes, indeedy.
All right, guys. Well, until next time.
Toodles. Bye.
This episode was produced by Two Chicks Talkin Flicks. Music was produced by Michael Girvani. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to be a part of the show, have a movie suggestion, or just want to give us some love, you can email us at twochickstalkinflicks@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. Toodles.